Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Almost time. Thank you for joining me tonight. We are here to talk about the Saturday Visitor Awards. My name is Enrica Jang. I am Executive Director of Poe Baltimore and the Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum here in beautiful Baltimore, Maryland. I know it's a very difficult time. See world events. I know it's a very difficult time for everybody, but I hope you are still having a safe, happy holiday with family, loved ones. A weird week between the major big holiday and then New Year's. And so it's a weird time for everybody, but I hope you're making it through. Being nice to one another. I hope you got lots and lots of presents for no reason this past week. And thank you for joining us tonight. Talk about the Saturday Visitor Awards. This is a special night. I'll get to why in just a bit, but we are here to talk about the Saturday Visitor Awards, an award recognizing a new generation of artists and writers inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, presented by Poe Baltimore and the Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum, Baltimore, Maryland. This is a fun photo from holidays, and you'll notice there's, well, actually, you can't see with this holiday ball, but we did have an opportunity to get together before things really did take off, and thankfully no one in our group got this thing, but I really hope that everybody is safe and did have a wonderful holiday. Who is Poe Baltimore? We are the nonprofit organization created to fund, maintain, and interpret the Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum. That is the prime directive, our prime mission. Second part of our mission is to celebrate Edgar Allan Poe's legacy, both here in Baltimore and beyond. We draw a direct line from Edgar Allan Poe to the present day, share with people the outsized impact that Edgar Allan Poe has had on popular culture, and we recognize that Poe is a living force, and people are inspired by him, create beautiful works inspired by Poe, and we want to recognize this new generation of creators. So that is the purpose of the awards and part of our mission at Poe Baltimore. Now, a small plug for the Edgar Allan Poe House Museum. We unfortunately did have to close due to the COVID pandemic this week, and of course the holidays. So we're hoping that things do get better. So our non-pandemic hours, Thursday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Visit poebaltimore.org for tickets. Now, we are open on a reservation-only basis, so you do want to visit the website before you think about coming to visit Poe House. But we are also planning some really fun virtual events in January, and so you can visit the website. Some things will likely have to pivot because of Omicron, but we'll see how things go in the new year. It's got to get better. It's got to get better. We really hope it is. So the purpose of our sessions on Thursday, every Thursday here in December and through January until the call for entries opens for the Saturday Visitor Awards, we want to answer some frequently asked questions and give you some tips. If you are a creator who is inspired by Poe, creating Poe-inspired works, or if you know anybody, as you saw in the description of our session this evening, please, if you know some Poe creators, shout them out. You want to put them in the comments, link to some of their works in the comics. We'll talk about eligibility in just a little bit, but if you have some favorites out there, and one of the great things about working at a Poe place, at the Poe Museum, we do have artists and writers send some of the most incredible work to us, and the awards were born out of wanting to recognize their efforts, wanting to recognize some of the best things that we were seeing, and not just, put them in the gift shop. We really wanted to share with folks just how Poe has influenced popular culture. So that's the purpose of the awards. So if you know anybody out there tonight that creates Poe-inspired works, they need to know about the awards. So you can tag them in the comments. If I see some really good ones, I'll even shout them out tonight. But if we see some really good ones, we might call them out next week when we meet next Thursday. So starting dates to remember, January 19th is when the call for entries will open for the Saturday Visitor Awards, coming up in just a bit. But remember that date, January 19th, midnight. That is Edgar Allan Poe's birthday. Trivia question. We will open the portal and you can begin to submit your entries. Now, the deadline to enter is May 30th, and that form shuts down at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. We slam that window down at midnight Eastern time. So May 30th is the deadline. January 19th is when it opens. Usually, if things go well and we don't have too many delays, and if the judges are on top of things, and they usually are, we usually announce the nominees by July 30th of the year, and then we will crown the winners October 8th at Poe Fest International. It's the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival and Awards, and we have our ceremony at the Black Cat Ball. Now, October 8th is the date on this card. I want to caution everybody. You know the times we're living in now. This is a tentative date. It is not the official date. We will not announce the official date for a bit because we're going to see which way the pandemic winds blow. But October 8th, the tentative thing. It's usually the weekend closest to Poe's death date. Another trivia question. Poe died October 7th, 1849. So dates to remember. You want to keep those in mind. Now, eligibility. Media, art, performance, and a writing that adapts or is inspired by Poe's life and works. And I've got a little video to share with you talking about eligibility. Who is eligible to enter? What are we looking to see for the Saturday Visitor Awards? And what are these categories that we'll be talking about? Here we go. A little bit of lie at the end of that video. Not the portal has not opened yet. It opens on January 19th. The deadline will be May 30th. And so talking about that eligibility, media, art, performance, and or writing that adapts or is inspired by Poe's life and works. There are no restrictions. Medium, no restrictions in genre. We have seen comedies, we have seen tragedies, we have seen children's books, we have seen beadwork, we have seen films, we have seen just about anything, just about every format and every genre. If you have a genre you think we haven't seen before, I'd love to see it. We want to see some of this crazy Poe art that's out there. We know that Poe continues to inspire. So there is no limit when it comes to restrictions to medium or genre. There are none. However, there is an eligibility guideline. The works must have been released, printed, or distributed, first performed between January 1, 2019 and December 31, 2021. What does that mean? The previous 3 years. This is something that trips folks up, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But this eligibility is very important. Now, I get this question. Why are we looking at only at works from the previous 3 years? And the reason for that is we're looking at how Poe is inspiring popular culture. And so we're looking at works, present day works. We all know the Corman films. We all know some of our traditional favorite Poe-inspired works that are out there. We don't want to see some of that stuff from like 5-10 years ago. We want to see what people are doing now. So any work in the previous 3 years. Now, this is a rolling eligibility. So eventually works do get phased out of eligibility, but while the work is eligible, if it's inspired by Poe, falls within our categories. Released January 1, 2019 and December 31, 2021, previous 3 years. Now, reprinted or re-released materials are discouraged. That means if this is the first time you're hearing about the awards, but you have been creating Poe-inspired works for the last 10 years, unfortunately, anything created beyond that 3-year window, not eligible. And you don't want to just kind of change something, flick of a mustache or eyebrow or something on the piece, and then you re-release it and then try to fake eligibility. We really do discourage that. And it's kind of embarrassing if the judges sort of catch that. So reprinted or re-released materials are discouraged. Now, if something is materially edited, materially changed and re-released, that's okay. That is something for the judges to determine. So if there's any question, there's no question. You want to get a hold of us. You want to contact me. here at the awards, contact at poefestinternational.org, and I can help you with that question if you've got a question about eligibility. Now, a work may be nominated in more than 1 year. Our previous nominees are encouraged to enter their work again if they are feeling lucky, but a winning entry may not be entered again. Once you've won, you've won, and you are a winner forever. It's eternal, and you cannot enter a work in whole or in part again. So I want to keep that in mind in terms of eligibility. Now, what do you see on this thing? December 31, 2021 is the end of eligibility, and you saw that in our title tonight, December 31. Today is the 30th. Tomorrow, December 31, Eastern, 11:59 p.m. Eastern, you must have released, performed, distributed, published your work by December 31. What does that mean? Traditionally released works, that is, of course, something that qualifies, but not so traditional works too. Not so traditional works too. So social media, as long as something is posted to your website, to YouTube, to any other medium that is visible to the public online, it's got to be a public post, something that people could have seen. Again, Poe in popular culture, something in the culture. It must, though, have been published by tomorrow. So December 31, 2021, this year's almost over, and you want to keep that in mind. So any questions about this? Again, these are frequently asked questions we get all the time. If you want to sort of see additional questions, you want more information, go to SaturdayVisitorAwards.org. You can see all of this stuff in much greater detail, and you can even download our entry guidelines. Now, I cannot stress this enough. Please download the guidelines. Even if you have entered previously, even if you've been nominated previously, you want to enter, you want to download the new guidelines, you want to see what's new. I guarantee something in there has changed. So download the new guidelines, make sure that you know what's going on. If you have any questions, make sure you're in contact with me. Either send a message, SaturdayVisitorAwards.org. You can chat a question tonight if you wish. If I see a question, I'll try to answer it. That's why I'm live tonight talking to you. But have a question you're a little bit more shy, send it via contact at poefestinternational.org. Now, the one thing we do ask, contact us via the website, via email. Please don't request your specific entry information via social media, like direct messages or on Twitter or something like that. You really want to send your questions to us. You can on social media tonight. In the chat is the only time to sort of do this publicly. But if you have any specific questions about your piece, very happy to chat with you about your entry before you enter. I'm the administrator, and so that's who you want to talk to, and we can get you squared away with that. But just sort of keep that in mind. Now, the categories, as mentioned in the video, the awards are given in 2 categories: adaptations of Poe's life or works, examples of this portraiture. Biography falls here due to the narrative nature of biography. You're telling a story of someone's life, and so biography would fall here. Now, note that the SVAs are intended to recognize artistic works rather than academic treatise or criticism. So we are not, it's not sort of a conference entry or anything like that. Adaptation, sort of criticism of Poe's works or sort of academic criticism, this kind of thing, that doesn't really fall. This is not the awards for that. But film or dramatic adaptation of Poe's works, what we sort of understand as more traditional adaptations of Poe, the Raven, a verbatim The Raven or something like that, that would fall in the adaptation category. Original works inspired by Poe, some examples, for instance, Poe's life as he's a character in a film, novel, or play, sequel, prequel, or any basis for original story with a direct line to Poe. We've seen poetry, encourage poetry, and we've seen films, this kind of thing. The original works category is a much broader category, of course, and it can trip people up sometimes because just because it's a horror story doesn't necessarily mean it's inspired by Poe. You will have an opportunity in the entry form to draw that direct line from your work to Poe and share with the judges why, how your work is inspired by Poe. But this is where original works fall here. Now, this can be confusing for folks. So if there's a question, Exactly. No question. Send us an email. Let's talk about your piece, and we will try to help you, help guide you for your entry, help guide you to the category we think that your piece fits. Now, what happens though if the judges disagree? This has happened. The judges decide together that this piece is better in the original works category, or this uses a lot of Poe's words, a lot of the whole sections from Poe. We're going to stick this over an adaptation. And this switch has happened. You are not penalized for this. So make your best guess or get in touch with myself, somebody at Poe Baltimore, to talk about which category might fit. But if it gets moved and the judges decided to be moved, that's okay. You will not be penalized for that. It's just a switch that happens during the judging categories, judging rounds. Now, different for this year, different for people who might have entered the awards before. You must choose. You may only submit one work per category, which means you can submit a work in the adaptation category and the original works category. Not the same work, you got to choose, but you can submit two different pieces in each different category, but you can only submit one per category. It's important to remember that. So choose your best work. But Enrico, what if I have lots of work inspired by Poe? I want the judges to see everything. Pick your best work. Go by eligibility. What's going to be phased out of eligibility first? Send that piece first, and then you got next year to send something else in another, or find something that fits in the other category. But keep that in mind. That is a big change from previous years. You want to keep that in mind. So I am not seeing any tags in the comments or any questions in the comments. So I'm just going to keep rolling through. If you're not a stranger to these sessions, you might have seen this information before. We do repeat a little bit of this for the new folks, but if you have any questions, now's the time to send them in comments. Or if you have a favorite creator out there who is creating works that you inspired by Poe, and you think we need to know about it, or you think they need to know about us, tag them in the comments here, and I might even share the link tonight. If I see something in the comments later, I might share it next week. So you never know. You never know. All right. So important things to remember. Really important to remember some of this stuff. We see mistakes every year, so you want to keep some of this stuff in mind. Understand eligibility. Did talk to you about this already tonight. We are looking for completed works that were first released, published, printed, available to be seen by the public at some point in the previous 3 years, between January 1, 2019 through December 31, 2021. And yes, tomorrow is the end of eligibility. So if haven't published it yet, now's the time to get it up on YouTube. Keep that in mind. Second, provide a working link. You are required to provide a working URL to your piece for the judges to view. We will make one attempt. Now, you know, it's the internet. Servers go down. You never know. A link might not work once the judges finally get to it. So we will make one attempt to contact the artist if the link is broken or requires a password. Don't send a link that requires a password. But if it does, we are going to make one attempt to contact the artist. Make sure your contact information is correct. Make sure it's something that will follow you when the judges finally see your piece. But if we cannot reach you, or you fail to provide a link after we've contacted you, the entry is then disqualified. So provide a working link. Test it before you send it to us. If you don't know what a URL is, ask a friend. You really want to make sure that this is something that works. You also want to make it easy to view. Now, artists out there work in these crazy programs to make the beautiful things that they make. We know Photoshop, a whole bunch of stuff, After Effects, a whole bunch of things I've never heard of even. We know artists do that. But when you submit your work, you want to make sure you're submitting to the judges a link to a file that they can actually see and does not require anything special to open. PDFs come to mind, PNGs come to mind, JPEGs come to mind. These are things that can be opened easily. YouTube links are okay because a subscription is not required to go to YouTube. You only need internet access. But we discourage editable files. So you don't want to send that Word document, or you don't want to send that Pages document. You want to send something like a PDF that's easy for folks to open, that the formatting's not going to get messed up, that kind of thing. Don't send an editable file. I kind of discourage social media links. I've seen this happen to a lot of people when they send us a Facebook link or something like that. Something gets switched around, or you have to be signed into Facebook in order to see it sometimes, that kind of thing. You really don't want to do that. Don't take that risk. Snapshot it if you need to, but I highly, even if it was posted on social media, I wouldn't send the link that way. Assume the judges don't have a Facebook account. Assume the judges don't have Photoshop or Kindle accounts. We've seen people connect to Amazon free, even if it's a free file on Amazon. Really, you want to send the judges your piece in a way that there's just less confusion, and you know they're going to be able to read. So I hope that is helpful for people as they're considering that. So, all right. And again, I'm not seeing questions. I was told to slow down perhaps a little bit and give people time to formulate their questions as we're going through this information. So I'll attempt to do that, kind of slow down a little bit. But about 2 weeks ago, we went through a little bit of the entry form. I'm going to zip through it a little bit quicker this week. I'm going to slow down and speed up. I'm going to slow down to speed up. But if you want a little bit more in-depth discussion of the entry form, you can even download a copy of the entry form on the website. Or you can look at that video from 2 weeks ago where we talk about the entry form countdown to 2022 SVA. We talk about the entry form a little bit more in depth, but I'll go through most of these highlights sort of quickly now. As we said, any genre, any medium, previous SVA nominated works have included short films, feature films, comic books, painting, sculpture. Really not kidding. We've seen some really wonderful things in the years that we've been doing the Saturday Visitor Awards. I'm really looking forward to some of the wonderful work that we're going to see. So even if you don't see it on this list, enter it. If your work is inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, we want to see it. If you know someone who does Poe-inspired works, we want to see their work. So you can even tag them tonight. Let's see this. Let's see the wonderful world of Poe that is out there. So any genre, any medium eligible. So because, though, the judges are going to have to see a digital version of the work, we know, artists know, that unless sometimes you're in the presence of the work, it's really difficult to truly get everything, truly get the piece unless you're in the presence of it. But we don't have the budget to send the judges to come and see you at your studio in Australia. So you have an opportunity in the entry form to describe the work, including medium genre. You can describe the size, dimensions. You can give the judges any information you think that they need that might not be readily apparent upon viewing the link. You have the opportunity to do that. Use it. Use that opportunity. Tell the judge what they might be missing by not being in its presence. And if they want to know more, there is an apparatus for them to ask questions. Long form entries. Let's say we get 30 novels. The judge is going to be able to read 30 novels. Probably not. Creators are asked to provide a link to the entire completed work. We want to see that it's complete. But then you are also asked to highlight either the best 20 minutes, perhaps, of a feature film, or the best 10,000 words. And you're asked to provide page numbers or timestamps to show these things to the judges. I'm telling you now, the judges are most likely to view this excerpt in the first round and then take a longer look in subsequent rounds. So you're not really killing your darlings here. You're only highlighting your favorite ones, and you're highlighting the work that you think is going to get the judge's attention, get you to that second round. But in the second round, even in the first round, if the judges want to see more, that's why you're asked to send the entire piece. The judges go wherever they want to, but you're asked to highlight the best 20 minutes or the best 10,000 words for the judges, and they're most likely to view this excerpt in the first round. So in your entry, in the entry form, you're asked, is your work long form, such as film, novel, script? And what we mean by this is over 10,000 words, over 20 minutes duration, even multiple pieces or episodes. Let's say you've been doing a Edgar Allan Poe podcast for years, and you want to submit your best podcast to your best podcast episode for the awards. That's okay. Click yes here, and you're going to be brought to a special section in the entry form asking you about your long form entry. So you're asked to provide the URL, then you're asked to provide that timestamp or page number for the best 10,000 words, timestamp for the best 20 minutes. Now, let's say you are creating that series. You've been doing this for a long time. Please only submit an episode, for instance, from that podcast series that falls within this period of eligibility. And you don't want to submit multiple episodes from the same podcast series unless they're truly different subjects. So if there's a question, there's no question. Contact us, let us know, and then we can help guide you as to how to enter or what to enter. But this is how it's going to look on your entry form. And you can go back to the video to hear a little bit more of this, or you can download the form on the website. So you are also asked to describe how Edgar Allan Poe, his writing life, are the subject or inspiration for this work. So this is especially important in the original works category. If you're submitting something in the original works category, you're going to be asked to please share with the judges exactly how it's inspired. That way, it's very clear to them where your inspiration is coming from, how Poe is part of your work. Adaptation category, it's a little bit different, but probably a little bit more evident. But this is a good section if there's anything you want to explain to the judges that they might not see upon first glance. Now, don't be surprised. There is a fee to enter the Saturday Visitor Awards. It's $25, and it covers administration of the awards, and it covers the judges' time. So there is a $25 fee. Your entry will not be looked at unless you submit the fee. So I hope nobody is surprised by that. All right. Again, I don't see any questions in the comments. I'm not seeing any comments actually. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Just remember, eligibility ends December 31. And so anybody out there who's created some works has not published it yet, or has not posted it yet online, tomorrow's the day to do that. But again, we're looking for traditionally published, traditionally distributed works, that kind of thing, but not so traditional works too. Social media works too, this kind of thing, part of popular culture, and stretch the boundaries here. Show us how your Poe work kind of stretches boundaries and makes it exciting. So, all right. Well, as you all know, Omicron, again, it's terrible that we're all going through this again. My heart to all of you, and I hope everyone is safe, trying to be optimistic about what we're looking for 2022. Here at Poe Baltimore, probably looking at some tough times ahead. So our Poe Nation donation support for Poe House, if Saturday Visitor Awards or the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival or Poe House is important to you, please help us reach our $5,000 funding goal. For tomorrow, your donations do help keep Poe's Chamber door open to thousands of visitors from around the world, both in person and online. And if you want to know what I mean by that, please visit poebaltimore.org, and you can see what we've been up to for the last 2 years during the pandemic, 2020, 2021. Take a look at all of the programs, both virtual and in person. We have been very fortunate to be able to still put together, still share with all of you over the last 2 years, and take a look at maybe what's coming up in 2022. One of the things I'm really, really proud of, very excited about, and already working on next year is the Virginia Poe Bicentennial, a most poetic year to honor the beloved wife of Edgar Allan Poe. Controversial figure, and I'm really looking forward to leaning in this, but this is just one of the programs that we have planned for next year, as well as the Saturday Visitor Awards, as well as the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival and Awards. So please, if you want to help keep programs like this going, keep Poe's Chamber door open, make a donation, text Poe Baltimore to 44321, or visit poebaltimore.org, and you can pledge your support there. Also, a little bit of time, pick up some Poe merchandise at the shop. Everybody loves stuff, and everybody's got gift cards now. So visit poehouseshop.com, do a little bit of shopping. I hope all of you, again, have a wonderful, safe, happy New Year. And look forward to seeing you in the new year at Poe House, and look forward to seeing your works in the Saturday Visitor Awards 2022. So I will be back next week, 8 p.m., give or take. Next week on Thursday, we'll be talking about the judging rounds. We'll talk a little bit more about the judging process next week. But if you have any questions, again, send your questions my way. You can Where is that slide? You can send your questions via the website, SaturdayVisitorAwards.org, or send via email contact@pofestinternational.org. Very happy to see your questions, answer your questions, and talk about your wonderful Poe-inspired work. Good luck, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Happy New Year.